Could you imagine if there was a carrier that offered day one coverage for hard to insure health conditions, such as congestive heart failure, or even if you're just 1 day cancer free? Well, look no further than to today's spotlighted carrier, CICA Life's Superior Choice product. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Citizens, they go by CICA, CICA, Superior Choice. This is a very up and coming product, I guess you could say. They're not in many states yet. We will get to that in a few minutes here. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of perks and benefits to doing business with CICA. Number one, they go ages 0 to 85. Not many final expense products are going age 0 to 85. And they have level coverage, first day coverage, and also guaranteed issue. Not many guaranteed issue carriers are insuring people under the age of 50 or maybe under 40. So
none. Like let's stop. Yeah. There none unless you're a captive agent writing a very non-competitive product and thinking that you need some kind of none. There's no other option. There was an option, Sons of Norway, rest in peace, gone off the market. This is the option. So if you're thinking to yourself, I've got 38-year-olds, 26-year-old, a 5-year-old, I can't find him coverage. Well, they'll probably qualify for level coverage first off, and you'll be surprised. But second, you have a solution for those people now, and it's Citizens and CICA.
Yeah, pretty awesome. I mean, heck, it's a bit of a risk. People that have significant health issues, I understand why a lot of carriers don't want to accept them at the younger ages, but I'm happy that there is one that will. Same thing. I mean, well, when you're paying for leads, you want to get as much out of them as you can. Mm-hmm. And, you don't want to have to walk away from business. And there's a lot of health issues out there these days. I mean, doctors will even tell you that it doesn't really matter how old you are. And maybe in the past, it was a significant health issue. You can still live a very long time with a lot of these different health conditions. So I'm glad that, again, that there's a carrier that will go guaranteed issue. And again, of course, the comp is lowered on GI, but at least you can write it. There's no height and weight chart. So again, the first one we talked about, American Home Life, and now also CICA, no height and weight chart. So we're not going to discriminate there with people that may be in very good health, but just have a bit of an issue when it comes to their height and weight. There's also no tobacco rating with CICA. So it's one rating, whether they smoke or they don't smoke. You don't even have to ask them.
That's crazy. I mean, that has to be repeated like 6 times for it to click with some people's head. Like, there is no tobacco rate. There's only 2 products in America that do this and do this well. This is one of them. There is no tobacco rate. It's crazy.
And then no MIB and RX check. It's like, are you kidding me? So, I mean, essentially, you are the underwriter. I mean, it's based off of the questions on the application. As long as you're doing your part correctly and asking all those health questions, there's not going to be any surprises at the end. When you leave, which way that policy is going to get issued. It's going to get issued based off of the way that those questions were answered on the app. Exactly. So pretty simple.
Some people do say, how is this possible and how long will it last? Well, this company has been around a very long time. It has a lot of strong financial backing. It has an AM Better rating where some captive companies do not. Like this, it's publicly traded. You could buy stock in the product you're selling. I always thought that was pretty cool. Some carriers are publicly traded. And it has a huge history in the debit business, where that business is a really good, persistent, quality, block of business for a carrier. And they really expect you to be ethical about this. Like, they don't want you writing everybody level, somebody with one leg, the other leg's in the grave. Like, do it the correct way, because when you misuse any product on the market, it messes with the way it was designed. So they're prepared, they're ready, but they also want you to play by the rules, knowing you are the underwriter on this case.
Yeah, and don't abuse it. I mean, we want this to be there for a long time. It's a great situation. I mean, somebody honestly could just have this in their briefcase and be able to write pretty much everybody. without needing tons of different options. So, but you gotta do your part. You gotta, like you said, Chris, you gotta be ethical about it. Ask the health questions, go through it, make sure if it should be guaranteed issue, you need to be writing a guaranteed issue.
Yes.
But I mean, you're going to be amazed at this next slide that we go through of the different health conditions that they'll actually take level, that most companies are going to be modified. So, I mean, you're going to be ethical and still be able to get the people very good coverage where they're going to be surprised even.
Yeah. And again, we don't
and
like
that's
to
again level coverage for many unique health situations.
Yeah, we don't talk too in depth about comp when we're talking products, just because it's important to understand the product. But you're not also taking, this isn't charity work. Like, you're not writing GI at 5% comp. You're not getting $25 for the application. This is a competitively built product. So you're going to get paid fairly for the work that you're doing. And this is another example of keeping it simple. Like, you don't need 40 different companies just for someone to be overweight or someone to be 32. Like, less is more in this business to a degree.
Most definitely. So, preferred ratings here, cancer free for 1 day. So somebody had been going through cancer treatment. They just finished their last round of chemo, and they come back for a checkup, and the doctor says, yeah, it looks like everything's good. Your cancer's in remission. So your cancer's in remission. The next day, you can go out and get first day coverage with CICA.
Yes.
I mean, that's amazing. There's people that I've talked to in the past that are surprised with carriers that'll take people 2 years cancer free. I mean, a lot of companies are like a 5-year look back for cancer. So, being that 1 day cancer free, they can get that coverage and be covered from the very first day. To me, is just amazing. There's no wheelchair question. I'm assuming that's also, wheelchair, walker, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think the confusion with that, just to kind of unpack it for a moment, is first off, they look at these major conditions as in, if you're being treated, if you're seeing your doctor, if you're taking the medication you're supposed to, your longevity is going to be better than we probably thought. So we're comfortable giving them first day coverage. The wheelchair question is to make it less confusing, make it simple, because some companies say, well, walker this, wheelchair that. Can they walk? Can they stand? Is it for casual use, temporary use? How many wheels does it have on it? Like, it's just too much, which leads to the wrong answer and denied claims. There's no wheelchair question.
I mean, heck, I've had situations where a daughter's bought her mom a wheelchair at a garage sale. Like, she didn't even really need it. She just had it just in case, or even like a walker. It wasn't recommended by a doctor. They just happened to be, in every once in a while, maybe want to use it. So, but other companies, heck, if you just ask them if they ever use a wheelchair, well, automatically they're going to get pushed to like a 2-year modified. So
yeah,
no wheelchair question. Level conditions for many medically managed health conditions. Okay. So, congestive heart failure, if you want to maybe get into a little bit of detail of how this works, what we're talking about here, medically managed health conditions,
yes.
Chris.
Yes. I remember when one of the products came to market back in 2018, you knew if you didn't do a certain thing, you could get it through a certain way. It wasn't right. It's not how it was written. It wasn't supposed to be done this way. And it doesn't really help anybody to do things that way. In this situation, congestive heart failure is considered level coverage if, and many of these conditions are under these ifs again, they're seeing a doctor on a consistent basis. They're taking the medication they're supposed to, and they're medically managing that condition. If somebody has congestive heart failure, they're not taking their medicine, they don't go to a doctor, it's guaranteed issue. Write at GI and that's fine. But if they're doing what they're supposed to, this carrier considers that first day coverage.
Yeah, that's good. There's, most applications out there, they just ask if you've ever been diagnosed with congestive heart failure. It doesn't matter if you're currently being treated. If you've ever been diagnosed, it's going to be a decline. But like you said, Chris, and I've seen situations too. People maybe someone had a heart attack. That they were then diagnosed with congestive heart failure. Maybe they had surgery, and everything went fine. And now they're just on medications, they're maintenance medications, some things that maybe they have to take for the rest of their life. As long as they're good with taking those meds, and like you said, as long as they're consistent with going to their doctor on a regular basis, they're not going to get disqualified. They're not even going to get pushed to a guaranteed issue or a modified. They are going to be able to receive first day coverage with CICA.
Correct.
Not a bad deal.
Amazing.
All stages of kidney disease and kidney dialysis. Now that's amazing. Kidney dialysis.
Yeah. And let's be realistic. Many of those times, those people are living long lives. Unfortunately, they're on dialysis 3 days a week, but they're going to live 4, 5, 6, 10, 12 years, long enough for this to be great for the carrier, great for the client, and great for the agent, assuming they're medically managing the condition properly.
Yeah. I've seen even kidney dialysis. People live much longer now that are on dialysis than maybe in the past. I mean, there's even people that will do dialysis themselves these days, like when they go to bed at night.
Yeah.
It's just, technology in medicine and everything just has really gotten a lot better. And like you said, people are living longer even when they have some of these significant health issues. A stroke, TIA, liver disease, including cirrhosis. Again, a lot of conditions. I mean, cirrhosis is of the liver. That is a decline with most companies.
Yes.
So, stroke, TIA, same thing. We're talking about it as long as they're medically managed. A stroke, heck, I mean, usually maybe a doctor will put the person on like a blood thinner, and it's like a maintenance med that maybe they had to take forever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're saying that Chris, if they just had a stroke, they had a stroke 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And they're taking their medication. They're fine. TIA, they're fine.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. It's hard to believe, but also think about it like this. Like, how many less companies do you have to write when you've got this in your bag? Like, well, I carry this one company around because they don't ask about TIAs and they don't have a height and weight chart. So all they get is someone with a TIA and somebody who is unfortunately very large. That's awful anti-selection for that carrier. Like, they don't want that to be done to them. In this situation, you can place healthy business, sick business, in between business, and it allows the carrier to get a balanced portfolio of business as well. So, of course, stroke's not good, TIA is bad, liver disease is not a good thing to have. If they're being medically managed appropriately, it's level coverage. And it doesn't matter how many of these things they have, it's still the same. So you're thinking to yourself, like old criteria, well, if it's 2 yeses, does that make it guaranteed issue, or 3 yeses? Or it's all the same. Are they managing it? Are they seeing a doctor? Are they taking their medication? It's how you answer the questions is how it's issued.
So yeah, great product. Insulin diabetes, diabetic neuropathy, same thing. No problem. First day coverage. 5-year look back on an organ transplant. So
that's insane.
If you want to maybe explain how that works, Chris.
Yeah. So unfortunately, like hearts and lungs, the longevity on that, it isn't that long. The lifespan of that, it's tragic. You should be an organ donor. That's my political message for the day. But underwriting wise, 5 look back on organ transplant. So a kidney that they got 6 years ago, first day coverage. That's crazy. Lungs, they got 5 years ago, first day coverage. Hearts, 5 years ago, first day coverage. Organ transplant, more than 5 years is first day coverage. Pretty amazing.
And then within those 5 years would be a guaranteed issue. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. And then we move on. Just a couple other advantages with CICA when it comes to their payment structure. There's no upfront chargebacks. Now it's a 6-month advance, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then they take the chargeback out of the back end. So you wrote something, you got advanced, you're not going to get hit with those chargebacks right away. It would just come out of that back end commission. So you might not see, a lot of renewals starting month 7, but there's at least going to be that money built up there to cover those chargebacks. So you can continue to get paid on a regular basis. You don't have to worry about writing an app to get, writing 2 apps to get paid on one, because you have
Yes.
to make up for a chargeback that you just, piece of business that you just lost.
Yeah. This
Um,
product was designed with the agent in mind. It wasn't designed by just actuaries or C-suite executives that wanted to make some business. It was written understanding that a brand new agent who should be writing a minimal amount of products, who should be in front of as many people as possible, needs to get paid as often as possible. Like no one gets into this business with this huge bankroll ready to rock. Like every piece of business counts. So they want you to be writing quality business. They want you to be writing persistent business. If your persistency drops, they're going to drop you. Let's be honest here. But if you write a piece of business and it drafts, you're going to be paid every Friday for that piece of business. If you write it on November 3rd, you'll be paid after November 3rd for that, and that's fine. But if you write 5 pieces of business and one falls off, it happens, but it won't affect what you get paid on Friday for that business.
and getting paid on draft to me is not a bad thing. Heck, you write enough of that business throughout the month. You have people that are getting paid on the first and the third of the month. Well, then you're going to have a pretty nice big deposit coming, which
Absolutely.
is nice, rather than a bunch of small little ones throughout the month. The first comes all of a sudden, you got 6, 7, 8 pieces of business that are all hitting. You got a nice deposit coming at the beginning of the month when most people have more bills to pay anyways. Um,
Yeah.
Managed service work from the agent portal, Chris. I know you mentioned that you can make different adjustments, like with like if somebody has maybe like a change of like their bank account, things like that.
Yep. So they designed the agent portal to make it clear about if you're having any lapse issues, fall off, and such. And it allows you to go in there and say, I wrote Adam 2 months ago and Adam changed his bank account. I can get that information from Adam, plug it into the portal, and service that business all on my own. Carriers that make it difficult for us to service our business, I will never understand. The easier you make it, the more persistent that business will be. So Citizens designed it so that you can go in and manage that fall off all by yourself if you choose, so you can maintain more business on the books.
Chris, do you know? I know Gary had asked about the chronic kidney disease. We got to that with CICA where they would cover people right away as long as it's being treated and they're
Mhm.
seeing that doctor on the regular basis. He also asked about Alzheimer's. Do you know how it works with CICA and Alzheimer's? Is that going to be a guaranteed issue like it is most places, or?
Yes. Yeah. The
Okay.
reality is that condition creates a lot of legal difficulties for a carrier. Where is this person competent or legally able to contract? So a lot of times, even United Home Life used to take that at a standard or a graded benefit. These carriers are just legally uncomfortable doing that, even if someone might live for 6, 8, 9 years with that condition.
Well, and I think with Alzheimer's too, it's so difficult to be able to determine like the stage, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
of the ailment. And it's yeah, people forget everything. They forget how to pretty much perform all of the different acts of daily living.
Yeah.
So
Lumenco will
that's
take
another
modified.
reason why it can go to, what's that again?
Yeah, Lumenco, which we're not on the list to cover today, but Lumenco will
Yeah.
take that modified. Lumenco also takes HIV modified. It's a little wacky,
Okay.
but it's the truth. But generally speaking, no one's going to take dementia and Alzheimer's on a first day benefit.
And I think maybe we could do this too, Chris. Maybe like once a month, even we could maybe review a few different carriers because there are quite a few out there. I think these four are really good. There are a few others as well. I think that kind of have those little perks, those little advantages, like what you were talking about. With a company that'll take someone HIV modified. That's almost unheard of too. Where
Yeah,
most of the time you got to go to like a guaranteed issue. But I'm assuming CICA would take HIV guaranteed issue.
correct.
Someone who's even under the age of 40 that maybe you can't find them coverage anywhere else. They have HIV. Well, you'd be able to write them on the CICA product. This might be a little small. Let me see if I can enlarge it on my computer. This is the states that CICA, and again, I guess, like we said, it's kind of like an up and coming. They're in quite a few states, it looks like, on the whole life side, not the guaranteed issue yet. But they are in the works with adding a lot of different states. Any of the states that are highlighted in light blue looks like they are in the process of adding They haven't been added yet. I'm in Illinois. I mean, I've been marketing the product, but I haven't been able to write it yet.
Very soon.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, I hear that it is coming fairly soon. So as you can see, it's a work in progress. More and more states, it seems like, are being added every week. And hopefully more and more will be added. But like I said, I mean, look at all the ones that are in light blue even. I mean, they're going to be in most states before we know it here. So just be patient. And once it's available, just, stay in touch with us. And we'll, if you're in a state that CICA is not currently in and you want to know when they're going to be in your state, let us know. And we can be sure to get in touch with you as soon as they are active and ready to go in your state.